I should probably
How
get
old
this.
are we?
I know.
Farts will always be funny. It doesn't matter how old I get. Farts are always funny.
Exactly.
This shit's funny.
I mean, it's like, Adam Sandler doesn't lend himself to success among, critical inquiry, but his movies keep doing well and he's worth $800 million.
Yeah, people keep paying him.
Yeah, they keep paying him. And Netflix will just, no evidence be like, will you please make 6 movies for us? And he says, yeah.
Yep.
You can't
He's
say
like,
no to that
yep.
kind of money. Boy, oh boy. Did you know, all of his basketball stunts and everything are real? He plays basketball for 4 hours a day. Always has.
Wasn't he in Luck of the Irish, the Disney Channel original?
Well, I don't think so. Was he?
The Irish kid who plays basketball.
Luck of the Irish Disney.
I just read that the other day.
I can't tell if you're pranking me or something. No, he's not. Okay. You flipping had me going here.
Okay, no. I'm just messing with you. That was not true.
Okay, good.
I'm in a mood.
In a mood. All right. So we are back at it with another episode of Niche Knowledge and Nonsense. And
Whether you like it or not.
And speaking of which, I wanted to offer the audience a little bit of an apology because my last few episodes have been apparently received as a whole bunch of steam and pile of nonsense bullcrap.
Who said that?
It's just written all over the fact. People don't believe in goblins like they used to. There is just ye of little faith. The goblin community, the goblin fandom is dying.
I wonder why that is.
And Shrek killed it. It was replaced by the ogre fandom, and there was not room for 2 cooks in the kitchen. Yes, chef. Thank you, chef. So, in light of that revelation and that critique of my own work, I have decided to put together an episode that's substantially more niche knowledge and hardly any nonsense.
All right.
And
well, I'm excited. It's okay if there's a little bit of nonsense.
I set out there are 0 .gov sites since apparently people don't have any faith in the credibility of government websites anymore because the last few .govs I've referenced have been just panned by the audience, did not hold up to critical inquiry. But we got some .orgs, we got some .coms, we got all kinds of dots in there so you can connect the dots and we will find the knowledge in here somewhere. We'll get to it.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, good. So, again, I thought, Bailey, following up the excellent episode on sleep talking, I thought we'd do another popular and beloved nighttime phenomenon. So, I'm talking about goblin visits. No, I'm actually, no goblins. No goblins. No goblins under the bed. No goblins, whatever. We're actually going to talk about what you and your friends do in the shadows. I'm talking about nightmares.
All right.
Yeah, so again, I was really hoping the Casper mattresses ad was going to come through in time for this, but the only Casper I've seen is that little ghost pervert flying around stealing panties out of the house. So
I mean, each their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you to judge him? For that.
I mean, he's already been judged. He's a ghost, and he was damned to hell on earth. But before I dive into it, let's get real for a second. Bailey, do you experience nightmares, and has the nature of your nightmares changed with age, if so?
Yes, I think it is pretty normal to get nightmares. I notice if I'm really stressed out, I get nightmares. When I was younger, they would be more about things that wouldn't scare me now, like clowns or, ghosts or whatever. But when I was a teenager, I used to be terrified of bugs.
Bugs to
And
the
now
point that
I'm
you'd have nightmares?
Yes. So I still don't like cockroaches.
Mm,
I gotta give them some credit though, if they've survived since, you know,
over 100 years. Yeah.
dinosaurs, then you said over 100 years?
Yes. Am I wrong? Okay, go on.
I
Go.
mean, no, but it's gonna be a lot longer than that. But yeah, you're not wrong. So, I'd say at least 101 plus years. But I also used to be very scared of spiders, so I'm not as scared of spiders now. I still fucking hate cockroaches. I hate them so much.
Sure.
But I would have nightmares of bugs crawling up all over me in my bed, and I would wake up and I would like, there was one time I had woken myself up kicking my sheets off of my bed because I'd had a nightmare
Oh,
that
jeez.
there were these bugs crawling all over me, and I probably was like 11 or 12. And yeah, so that was terrifying. But now my nightmares are more about like, I don't know, like having an argument with Adam, or just like waking up and not really feeling that great, or like something happens with the kids type thing, like
Sure.
more realistic stuff. So I feel like that's pretty normal. Like the things that scare you can change as you get older, and you realize like, why am I scared of that? I don't really need to be scared of that anymore.
Absolutely.
You
And
know?
how you just described the progression of your fears turning into, fueling your nightmares, to your anxieties fueling your nightmares, and your experience and daily stressors fueling them is actually jumping way ahead to the statistical experience of most people at least in the United States and around the world. That tends to be how it is. The things
Oh,
that you see as like your biggest antagonist possibilities on the daily tend to be the things that pop up in your nightmares. But what's also
okay.
interesting is almost everything that you listed is on the top 10 list for the most common nightmares in the world. So
Wow.
if you're
Oh,
ever go on, yeah.
oh yeah, no. No, you finish what you're saying. I just remembered another one that I've
Sure.
had.
So never feel like you're suffering an anomaly or alone or anything like that, because you're actually among great company of lots of people who have dreams about arguments, about vermin and things like that.
I will say, the worst nightmare I've ever had, was I was buried alive.
Ooh, and you have a fear, you're claustrophobic, right?
I get claustrophobic. Yeah. So that kind of also ties into anxiety and stuff too. But yeah, just like being like in the ground, and it was very similar to like something that I'd seen in a horror movie. I don't remember which one specifically, but you're like in a wood coffin in the ground, and as they pile the dirt on the coffin, it's falling through the cracks in the coffin, and it's like falling on my face, and it's like
What?
absolutely horrible. And I'm like,
have
you wake
such
up and you're like, oh my god.
Dude, you have such vibrant dreams. Like I
when
feel
I
bad.
well
Like
when I remember them,
sure.
I can remember a lot, but I, like I mentioned in the last episode in sleep talking, I hardly remember my dreams. So when
Yeah.
I do, they're mostly traumatic or like really
Yeah, dude,
fucked
it
up.
fucking seems like it. You're gonna find out actually if it's that bad, you're in a much narrower slice of the dreaming population than you might be expecting. But have you ever heard the hit song Buried Alive by Avenged Sevenfold?
I've listened to Avenged Sevenfold, but
Oh
I don't
man,
know
you
that
should give
song
it
specifically.
a listen. It goes like, "Hey, I can't live in here for another day," or something like that. Um, but yeah, that's exactly what they sound like. Anyway, anyway, yeah, absolutely. The nature of your nightmares does tend to change over time, and I'm very much the same way. When I was a kid, I would dream of really like I remember specifically I had a dream that like this zombie old man would jump out of a haystack and try to
Oh my
grab
god.
me, which probably wasn't going to happen, but every time I walked by a haystack, that was my thought, like, is there a needle in there or is there a zombie? It was a 50-50 chance, and I wasn't going to risk it. And it really damaged my relationship with a lot of cows and farmers by extension. Just, being
Yeah.
that I was not wanting to go by the stacks. And then over time, I started having, nightmares would change to like I'd get a notification on my phone that like my bank account was overdrawn or something like that, like one day
Oh my
after
gosh.
payday, and
Yeah.
things like that. But
And you're like, damn, I can't buy Monster tomorrow.
exactly. Well, I'd always find a way, like
Yeah.
what do they
Addicts
always say?
normally
Yeah,
do.
a crack addict isn't going to wake up and say, "Oops, no money for crack today," right? You get up and you
we
get
can't
at
put
it.
that in the episode.
Okay. Hunter Biden is not listening. We're okay. We're okay.
Yeah.
Is this a safe space?
Oh my god. Yeah, you can't buy that Monster now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just can't abide that. So that's a real scary part right there. The monsters in my dreams are the lack of monster in my belly.
Why did you just sound like Shrek?
I don't know. I think that's from something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you
I'll
compare
squeeze the jelly from your eyes.
actually, it's quite good on toast. I swear we just had that dialogue in the last
We
episode.
did.
Okay.
We did. Yeah.
But being a parent, your kids are probably, I think they're just about right in the prime age demographic for nightmares. So
Okay.
if when they wake up with a bad dream, they're probably still talking about like there was something under my bed. I had a dream there was a big spider in my hair, like that kind of stuff, right? Or do they get more elaborate?
Just wait till I tell you about this.
Oh no.
So normally it's like I had a bad dream and I got really sad from Atticus. Or I got really scared. I saw a scary monster in my room and I got really scared. And so I put him back to his room, right? But Bryn's dreams are way more like she remembers a lot more.
Sure.
Or at least knows how to say. I mean, because she's 5 and my son is 4, so they're pretty close in age.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one time, this freaked me the hell out, Ethan. It's gonna scare you too. Bryn came into our room, and it was around 3 in the morning. Which, if you are into any paranormal stuff, that's like, what is it? The witching
The witching
hour or
hour,
whatever.
yeah, I think that's it.
Where like all of the paranormal activity is supposed to happen then, right? So I wake up, Bren's standing at the side of the bed talking to me, saying she was scared to go back in her room because her nightlight turned off. And I look at my phone and I saw it was like 3:15 in the morning. I'm like, great, that's not creepy at all. So I walk her back in her room and she just like, she wanted me to lay down with her for a little bit. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I'm like, what was your dream about? Like, why are you so upset? Like, you're okay. I'm here with you. And she's like, there was a woman under my bed and she had black eyes and black stuff coming out of her mouth. And I'm like,
What? This is when she's 5?
yeah. Well, this happened last year sometime.
So like
she would have been 4.
Sheesh.
And I'm like, what the hell?
She didn't like watch The Ring or something?
No, I was gonna wait till she was 6, before we watched that together.
Mother
But I
of the year.
I can't recall anything. Which I'm joking. I'm gonna wait till she's a little older,
Sure.
obviously. But yeah, I could not think of if we had watched something. The only thing, one of her favorite movies is Coraline, and I know that it's a little bit scary.
Sure.
I wondered if maybe that had anything to do with it because
like the black
I
button
don't know.
eyes and stuff like that.
right.
I don't remember Coraline being that scary, but regardless, sounds like she actually handled it pretty well. That would freak me the flip out. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that one was a nightmare or if it was paranormal.
for sure. I mean, it's scary just given the time. But what's interesting then is, and this is observed, is that nightmares and bad dreams, any dream tendencies tend to be genetic. Like if your parents were big time dreamers, then you tend to have dreams. If your parents were big time nightmare havers, same with sleepwalking. And we're going to see that's kind of the case with a lot of different sleep events and sleep disorders as well. So, the scale of dreams, like bad dreams, night terrors, and similar nightmare disorders are. Oh, hold on.
You're good.
I'm on the wrong page of my thing. So there are a lot of theories on dreams and their purpose, such as preparing us for social situations, survival scenarios, or for contextualizing data about our day and things like that. But I don't want to get too far into the sticks. So for like the sake of this pod, we're going to skip the bulk of the neurological, anatomical, physiological mumbo jumbo and just understand that dreams fire off in your beautiful brain while you're sleeping, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, what are nightmares specifically? So, nightmares are a type of parasomnia, which are behavioral sleep abnormalities, as we learned in the last episode with sleep talking. So, we recently covered sleep talking, really good if you haven't listened to that one yet, which is another popular type of parasomnia. But there are very, very many varieties. So, there's like sleepwalking, bedwetting, sleep-related eating disorders. You've all probably seen clips about the people who sleepwalk to the kitchen and will eat a whole sleeve of Oreos, things like that. There are just gobs of them. And you might think that nightmares have a lot of specific separation from regular dreams, but according to Harvard Medical School, both of them are autobiographical episodes that become woven with past memories to create a new memory that can be referenced later, with the only difference being that nightmares evoke negative emotions such as fear. So, again, there's kind of like a sliding scale that they would say a dream is something that you say, this happened. A good dream could be I was out in the daisies. A regular dream could just be, I saw a dolphin in a lake. It was really weird. A bad dream would be unpleasant, but not so bad that it wakes you up. And typically, most people classify a nightmare as being a dream that's so unpleasant that it wakes you from your sleep or otherwise disturbs you enough that you dwell on it once you wake up. So I want to pause there for a second because the word autobiographical really stands out. And I am curious, when you dream, is it typically in first person, like it's really happening, or do you dream in third person, like you're watching yourself? Because when I dream, it's kind of a mix where sometimes I feel like it's really happening, but most of the time I feel like there's a separation, like I'm looking at myself watching a scenario that's moving different places, almost like a movie.
Most of the time it's like it's happening to me, so it'd be first person. I mean, I've had a few where it would be in third person, but for the majority, I'd say first person, like it's happening to me.
For sure. So yeah, and that varies from person to person as well. So it's hard to pin down an exact separation, but again, there's like that sliding scale. And according to a Healthline.com article, nightmares again tend to prompt a sense of danger, while bad dreams are usually just unpleasant. So that's just an important thing to remember, is that dreams are usually something you'll just, you'll sleep through all the way through your REM cycle until you wake up, and nightmares are something that'll pull you out of the rest. So, yeah, most nightmares and dreams, you remember in general, kind of happen in this twilight REM phase of sleep, rapid eye movement, where your brain is in the mood to write information and to contextualize thoughts. This differs from night terrors, which usually happen in deep sleep, where the gainful parts of your consciousness are so checked out that you usually don't remember what the night terror was even about. Like you wake up, you bug out, you might scream, you might kick. It's really common in children, but most of the time, the huge bulk of the time, even right after they wake up, if you ask them what they were dreaming about, they can't say. Your brain wasn't active enough that you could actually pull an exact image. So
Okay.
It's really interesting, but because of that, night terrors don't, necessarily translate the same disturbed trauma into the day as a nightmare can, even though you get a more intense reaction. So, not to depart
Oh,
from that too much, but have you ever
you're good.
known anyone who's had night terrors? Because I used to room with my little brother, and when he was very young, he would get spells where he would just like sit up from bed and just like scream bloody murder for a few seconds, and I'd be like, bro, what the heck, what's happening, and then he'd just like lay back down and go to sleep, and that is
That is
horrifying.
terrifying. That's terrifying. So I don't know anyone, at least, that I've talked to or grew up with or whatever. I don't know anyone who's had night terrors. Everyone that I knew just did like sleep talking.
Sure. Which is
And that was,
preferable to sleep, screaming or sleep murdering your
yeah.
mother-in-law, any of the other things that,
Yeah.
parasomnias that that happen.
Sure. We'll blame that on parasomnia
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. So, another surprising thing to me while researching this was the number of people who actually experience nightmares. So, nightmares are fairly common in children, with roughly half of kids experiencing them regularly. But, Bailey, would you like to take a guess as to the percentage of adults who experience frequent nightmares? And it's quantified anywhere from like, a couple of times a month would be considered frequent.
Yes, I'll take a guess.
Sure.
Considering the amount of people or the amount of adults that sleep talk was pretty low, I'm gonna guess less than 12%.
You are 100% correct. So most people think that it's very normal, but only 2 to 6% of adults have regular or frequent nightmares. In fact, most
Wow.
adults only average about 1 to 2 bad dreams each year. So again,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's something that changes over time. When you're a kid, having a bad dream or a nightmare, a few times a week, or a few times a week isn't unusual. But by the time you're like in college, most people have moved to only having a couple of bad dreams per year. And around 20% of people actually never experience a nightmare in their entire life. Again, it's
Whoa.
something that's genetic. You pass down your dream tendencies to your children, and it's debated whether that's, nature or nurture. But again, a good chunk of people just absolutely never have a nighttime experience where they become so scared from their own memories that they even wake up at night. But again, that still means that most people are familiar with the feeling, even if they don't experience a nightmare that often.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the reasons the hit motion picture Nightmare on Elm Street is so scary is because, again, it is relatable to at least 80% of people on some level. Most people
Mm-hmm.
have had a nightmare or at least a bad dream, even if it was a long, long time ago. And some people have even had a dream experience where they feel trapped in an awful situation and they can't wake up. So, some people however, experience this a little more deeply than others, especially those who experience a particularly heinous type of parasomnia called nightmare disorder.
Oh my God. There's an actual disorder?
Yep, yep, yep. So this comes from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, 100% accurate. But nightmare disorder is a sleep disorder characterized by repeated intense nightmares that most often center on threats to physical safety and security. The nightmares usually occur during the REM stages of sleep, and the person who experiences the nightmares typically remembers them well upon waking. So when we think about our dream scale again, you can imagine dreams are on the good end, and then we go through bad dreams to nightmares to, that's kind of equal with night terrors to nightmare disorders, which is where you have an intense negative experience that's so bad that a lot of people will seek out therapy or different like medication options just to try to,
To
mitigate
make it
their
stop?
tendency to dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine just like not even feeling safe to go to sleep. It's scary as a movie, but that actually happens to a number of people.
I wonder if anybody has ever gone to the doctor and they're like, I think I have a nightmare disorder. And they're like, why? What makes you think that? Do you keep having bad dreams? And they're like, no, I wake up to a nightmare every day. And then they're like, do you need to see a therapist?
That sounds like that movie. Did you ever see Stranger Than Fiction? Will Ferrell.
Oh, that was a while ago.
It's very good. It's worth a
Yeah.
rewatch if you haven't seen it in adulthood.
Yeah, I might need to rewatch it. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Wait, no, I do remember it. Where everything he writes or narrates
Oh yeah,
comes
yeah, yeah.
true.
Yes.
Yes.
You remember it. You
Okay.
remember it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So right in there, right in there. Crap. Why did I reference that? We're supposed to reference the Truman Show every episode. Ha! Truman Show. Okay. So
Yeah.
a very cool Psychology Today article cataloged almost 10,000 dream records from 331 study participants over a long-term study to start analyzing societal patterns of dreams and nightmares. Now, this
Okay.
study adds up to a little over 100% because many of the bad dreams had overlapping themes. But there are some of the most common situations kind of captured in this. So, again, I'm going to go over these really, really quick. But the number one most common nightmare across the world is nightmares of physical aggression. Nightmares of physical
Oh.
aggression. That is 48.6% of all nightmares. So these are dreams about actual violence, anything from like fights to kidnapping to things like that. And I think this tracks because probably close to half of all people will experience a kidnapping in their lifetime, though some of them will be the kidnapper and some of them will be the victim.
Wait, what?
That's just a guess. I
Ethan?
mean, that's not like concrete, but I think it tracks along with the nightmare percentage. So yeah,
I'm
moving on.
I
Go
yeah. You just is that a threat?
No, if anyone's gonna kidnap something, I feel like I'm more kidnappable. You look like you.
But
F
you're
someone
the
up.
one who is a supposed serial killer, right?
I couldn't
You wear
be.
the
I mean,
nondescript hat and the
okay. I feel like serial killers. I
clothing.
don't think I've got the build to be a serial killer. You know, I'm kind of noodly.
I don't think Ted Bundy had the build.
I'll have to look up Ted Bundy's shirtless body.
Ted,
Oh la la. Okay. Anyway.
yeah, okay.
The number 2 most common nightmare in the world.
Can I guess?
You can.
Okay.
And keep in mind, everything you listed of your own experiences is on this top 10 list.
I'm gonna guess bugs.
Oh, no, but that's a little further down the
Oh.
list. But I will let you know that is like the 7th or 8th most common.
Okay.
And
then I'll guess.
interesting.
Yeah, I'll guess the claustrophobia. Why did I say it like that?
Also close, but number 2 is actually interpersonal conflict at 21% of nightmares. So again, these are dreams where you get into a fight with your spouse or, with your mom
Yeah.
or, your spouse leaves you or some other such emotional event where you are not in physical danger, but it's still not fun. So it's a big step down from getting murdered, but it's still interesting that that's the second biggest cause of sleeping anxiety, and I'll call it like intersleep anxiety that people are having. Number 3
Interesting.
is failure or helplessness at 16.2%, which is everything from messing up at work to those pesky dreams where you're like where you can't speak. If you've ever had those, like where you need to call for help or say something, but you're like mouth
I
won't
haven't,
open.
but that sounds terrible.
Oh, I've used to have those all the time. Yeah. Number 4, this is a good one. Being chased at 11.1%. Now I had to look this one up, but Google defines being chased as abstaining from extramarital or from all sexual intercourse. So yeah, I can see why that would. But no, so these are dreams where someone is after you. Maybe you just feel like you're being pursued, or there's a bear, a zombie, the paparazzi, anything like that. So number 5 is
What about being chastised?
I think being chastised, that might be interpersonal conflict. I don't know. But number 5 is dreams of evil presence. So self-explanatory: ghosts, goblins, possessions, probably goblins in 80% of situations. Yeah, you have to. You got that little goblin cat, the all black one. It freaks me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She might hop up here in a bit.
So I'll power through the next 5, but they are in order, all of them close to from like 5 to 10%. Health-related concerns and death, the most popular of those being your teeth falling out. Accidents, apprehension and worry, insects and vermin, which, interestingly, the most popular phobias associated with those is frogs over rats, then rats, spiders, cockroaches. So bing, bang, bam.
Are people scared of frogs?
Yeah, frogs, I believe fear of frogs is a more common phobia than fear of spiders or rats. I'm not sure of spiders. I know it's more common than fear of rats.
What?
Yeah, Kayla's got a frog phobia.
I've never actually considered that there are people who are scared of frogs.
Oh, yeah. If we see like a frog on a sidewalk 50 feet away, Kayla will she gets like the shivers and she can't look at it. And there have been multiple times where I've had to go get a frog and move it somewhere else so she could get through. And she's not like trying to do it to be cute. She's just terrified of them.
Okay.
I keep saying they can't hurt
Does
you.
Kayla now, what size shoe does she wear? Does she wear like a 9?
She'd be pissed if I just said it, but yeah, we'll go with the 9.
Okay. She could literally stomp the shit out of a frog on the sidewalk in one stomp. Because she's like 6'7".
Yes, but I've
literally.
She's figuratively. She's very, very tall, but she wouldn't because she's very tender-hearted. But I've said a frog can't hurt you though. Did you know that a lot of frogs and toads have a snake fang, like one single fang on the roof of their mouth?
In the middle of the roof of the mouth.
So they can get you with that.
Yeah,
a frog isn't going to. You can punt it.
I'm not talking down at all on anybody who is afraid of frogs because I am terrified of cockroaches.
Sure.
Because cockroaches, anything that has more than 6 or 8 legs, I will literally spray you with my hairspray and my lighter and
absolutely
say goodbye.
But
I can't imagine frogs.
I don't ever, because they seem kind of friendly. Most frogs can't really, they can pee on you, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's just ugh, I gotta go wash my hands.
It's whatever. Some people even like that. Oh. Okay.
We gotta keep that in there.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So, insects and vermin. Varmin. Why am I saying varmint like I'm a southerner? Insects and vermin.
Varmint.
Then disaster and calamity and environmental abnormality, which is, of course, a dream where something is wrong, like a lamp is looking flat.
Oh, see, I was thinking an avalanche or
Oh, no.
But an abnormality.
So environmental abnormality dreams are actually pretty common. They're 5% of all nightmares, and it's just where something in your immediate environment is distorted and wrong or disturbing. It's common we talked about the lamp story, right?
Yeah, in the simulation episode, right?
I think so. So that actually, that's an extreme example of an environmental abnormality nightmare, but I've had a lot of the nightmares on this list, but sometimes I'll have nightmares where I have when I was a kid, but where you'd be talking to people and their facial features start shifting and spreading out, their mouth is getting wider and their eyes are getting further apart, and you're what the heck is happening?
And then they look like Floop just lit him up at his factory from Spy Kids. And you're like, oh my god.
What a deep cut. Okay. Hey, that reminds me. Have you ever done the low light, no blink challenge in the mirror?
No, but
Okay.
why am I scared?
Okay, this is a real thing. This is really interesting if any of you haven't tried this. So, if you go into a room where you can get it basically totally dark, like a bathroom where there would be a mirror,
Yeah.
and then just like turn on your phone flashlight and put it like behind you just so you can like barely see your facial expressions, and then stare yourself right in the eyes without blinking after about 15 or 20 seconds, and you can blink, just try not to, you know, your facial features will start to distort as like the little, what are they called, the little cones and stuff in your eyes start to get exhausted,
Yeah.
and you start perceiving like less information on your face. Your brain starts trying to fill in the missing details, and people will see like their faces start like twisting into like a whirlpool into themselves, or you'll start seeing like really scary like stuff pop up on you. I've done this. Most of it doesn't work for everybody, but my little brother actually explained it to me, and I tried it thinking it was just a bull crap, but it does work. Give it a shot.
I'm probably gonna do that this week, and I'll let you know if it works.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, for some reason, that made me think of Skinamarink. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
That movie yet?
Okay, we watched
yeah.
it. It was a little bit of a slog, not gonna lie.
You guys didn't like it?
I liked it, but it was almost an exercise in like horror minimalism. You know, it was like
kind of was.
It was like
Yeah, I
Paranormal
would-
Activity on steroids, and
Yeah, I would say it was considered like an experimental
yeah,
film, and I think that's why it didn't do well in theaters, because it wasn't like a clear cut like thriller man
Sure.
with knife chase woman through house.
Right.
You know.
And that's fair. That's fair.
But there's I know that I'm sidetracking, and I'm
please,
really
please.
sorry. There are a bunch of different theories on what Skinamarink is about. One theory that I feel like really tracks is at the very beginning, the guy talks about the kid falling down the stairs, right?
Sure.
And then he leaves. Okay? So there's a theory that the kid is in a coma in the hospital. And the movie is a dream, but he starts to forget things because he's in the coma.
Okay.
That's why
interesting.
windows and doors disappear, and then there's like, yeah, like the parents aren't there, and like all this stuff. There are a couple other theories on it, but
I might have.
I don't know why,
well,
but
I might have to dig through some of those. I guess I kind of took most of it at face value, but
yeah.
yeah, interesting.
Anyway,
yeah, for sure.
Continuing. That just made me think, because like if you're looking in the mirror and like things start to like disappear, made me think
Yeah.
of when the
It's-
windows and doors disappear in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. Again, doesn't work for everyone, but if it does work for you, it gets really creepy. Again, you need it dark enough that you can just like kind of make out your facial features.
Dude, what if you did that, but Kayla was hiding in the shower?
Oh my
And you didn't know
flipping
it?
gosh. Okay.
And she's like, she texts you ETA.
And then I start replying
Oh my
like
God.
poop, and she just buggers out. Oh man, I might have a
Yeah.
heart attack, you know. It depends on how many monsters I had that day.
Kayla, if you're listening, you should totally do that.
Which she is. Kayla, thank you for being one of our 6 listeners. I'm kidding.
hey,
we have 18.
we have more than 6 listeners.
We do. Yeah. We appreciate
yeah.
all of you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So, again, that covers most of it, but I did want to cover one more common nightmare, one that has been written about extensively, experienced across the world, and has been the subject of creepypastas, movies, and more. And of course, I am talking about the Hat Man. So,
Oh,
so yeah,
okay.
again, if you're not familiar with the legend of the Hat Man, it's a popular legend / like shared experience, I guess, where just when you're falling asleep, waking up in the middle of the night, or sometimes dreaming about your own room, you catch a glimpse of a dark figure in the corner. You can't make out any discernible features other than the form of a man wearing a hat. Sometimes he approaches slowly. Sometimes he's looming over you as you lay glued to your mattress in terror. But most of the time, he simply stares on from his near-dark vantage, leaving you to sleep in an apprehensive terror, questioning what might happen. So, this is not just like a presence of a man in your room that's frightening, but it's the fact that so many people from all over the world have reported having the same nightmare, especially people who experience sleep paralysis or other disorders, that cause them to, low blood pressure or something where they can't like quickly get out of bed. And this kind of popped off. This is like our era of the internet where somebody posts something about it and then everybody's commenting like crazy saying, "Oh my gosh, I had this nightmare too." And they've actually done some research as to why people keep dreaming about similar things, such as the Hat Man.
Okay.
So,
can we specify what hat he's wearing though? Because I feel like the hat that everyone talks about is like a top hat.
So,
right, like some type of.
They consider it like typically like a loafy fedora, very similar to Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street. Interestingly enough, like the silhouette is similar.
So, does your Hat Man wear a sombrero or not?
No.
Because mine was a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of weird. I was like,
please make that
are you okay?
a TikTok, like
really, you chose that hat. Okay. No, you're good.
So
no, I just because I always picture like some sort of like top hat or like not like a super big one, just like some hat, but it's never like a and like a Cubs
just like
ball cap,
right? Not like just like a regular beige baseball cap. It's what I wear every day. It's my daily driver. But anyway, if you Google the Hat Man, most of what you see are like silhouettes in what looks like a short, top hat or bowler hat, or maybe a pork pie hat like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, fedora, even anything that's got like a uniform brim. It could even be a cowboy hat, I suppose, sombrero. That doesn't really matter. That's getting into the weeds. But the Hat Man is often associated with Benadryl-induced sleep, where the active ingredient diphenhydramine, hope I said that correctly, all the doctors let me know, which is known to induce very strange dreams. So, believe it or not, Ripley's Believe It or Not has an article on the Hat Man explaining that the Hat Man and other visual hallucinations connected to sleep paralysis are simple nightmares slipping into the waking world for a few seconds. For the majority of people, the break between REM sleep, REM sleep, or rapid eye movement, where nightmares happen, and being awake is a very clear line. For those suffering from sleep paralysis, however, that line becomes blurry, and for a few seconds, you're both in REM sleep and partially conscious. The perfect combination for nightmares to become just a little bit too real. But another fact that might be much more simple is the fact that many people drape their overcoats and hang their hats on the same coat rack in the corner, creating a disturbing silhouette to wake up to in the middle of a bad dream.
Okay.
So anyway, that tracks. And also a little thing to note, just because again I know some people who experience this. People, especially, I know it's more common with people who have anxiety, but you can start getting this person recognition situation going on in your brain where you start like recognizing people's faces or silhouettes and wrinkled laundry or things hanging in your closet. Like you turn the corner and your brain recognizes it as a person, a threat, and it freaks you out for a second, and then you jump.
Okay.
And then one Mississippi later you realize it's a tan hoodie. It's not a person.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah, a lot of people have. That's pretty common. Your brain works almost faster than you expect it to. It perceives something just in case it's a danger. Kind of like, again, if you see like a garden hose whip across the grass, you always jump because your brain thinks snake. Or if you see like a weird tuft of hair fly by your foot, you jump because you think mouse or spider.
I think pubes.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's about it for the common nightmares and shared situations we have right there. But again, I think it's gonna be interesting because we've got a large enough sample that there are probably a few people in our listener base who don't experience nightmares, and this probably just sounds like a bunch of hogwash to them. They think we're being dramatic.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's hard to like fully understand if it's never happened to you. I mean, there are movies you can watch, but if you haven't experienced it, you know.
For people like us
Yeah.
who be dreaming on the regular, Nightmare on Elm Street is a documentary, my friend.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I actually just learned that I think it's the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, Johnny Depp's character, when he's like sucked into the bed and then there's
ooh,
blood spraying out in the room, I learned that they filmed that in like a rotating room
I,
or
I'd
something.
have to rewatch this clip, but that seems like really extra
Yeah,
considering in that era
that's pretty
horror
cool.
budgets were so low,
Yeah.
but it was also the golden era of practical effects. If you wanted a
Oh,
strange
yeah.
shot, you needed to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of our part two on parasomnia. So we should probably make it a trifecta. So tune in 2 weeks for our episode on bedwetting, and we'll we'll
Yeah. Oh my God. You'll have to guess which one of us it is. There's a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Just kidding. We're not putting that in the episode. I
I
do
like
want
that. I
to
like that.
I do want to tell you though. Okay. So there's this girl who is a content creator. Her name is Selena Myers. She's pretty popular. Like she's got like 3 million followers on Instagram and way more on TikTok. But she makes videos of herself because she sleepwalks a lot. And she was on a podcast talking about her sleepwalking. And she mentioned that when she eats a lot of milk and cheese before bed, it makes it worse.
You know,
And so I had joked about cheese causing sleep talking, but it's actually true for
no,
some people.
that's interesting. I think I mentioned I just heard on the street, different things like bananas cause nightmares or cheese causes nightmares, things like that. But it's wild to have somebody who can collect enough data just on their day-to-day life that they can make a commentary on that. So wild. The
Yeah.
more you know.
No, that's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad we could bring you some actual niche knowledge instead of, that nonsense bull crap as per usual on here. But if you want to drop us a line, send a message, you can get a hold of us at niche knowledge and nonsense at gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at NKNpod. Give us a listen there. Or if you want to see, our faces while we're talking at you, you can check us out on YouTube. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And if you like our theme music, make sure to check out Eric Sparrow. His artist name is Sparrow, and he's coming out with a new album soon. He does not have a release date yet, but I'm excited
Oh,
that
man.
that's coming.
Heck yeah.
So be on the lookout.
Absolutely.
Make sure to check his stuff
Yeah,
out
and
too.
that's SFERRO, Sparrow, anywhere you stream.